Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty B. Detley.
And I'm Chad.
And this is a special 4 a.m. podcast.
Yes.
We just came back from watching It Chapter 2. And we have some things that we wanted to say in this Tuesday's podcast. Tuesday when we release it, obviously. Shad, I'll let you start off. What did you think about the film, as you are a constant reader, aka Stephen King fan, reader, actually, heavy Stephen King reader?
Well, there's good and there's bad. I like all the actors they cast as the adults. I think they all did a great job. As everybody's already said, Bill Hader kind of steals the show. But all the others did a great job too. James McAvoy is always good. Jessica Chastain's good. It was good to see the Old Spice guy, Isaiah Mustafa, playing a part. Because he always seemed like he'd be a good actor in things, and this kind of proved that he was. I didn't like it seemed a little aimless, like it just kind of wandered around. Like they just came to town and then roamed around and had a lot of flashbacks. And the ending was drawn out a lot. And I wish they had just kind of stuck with with all the effects they have now. Surely they could make a really good spider, you know?
Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the first movie.
Yeah.
Or first mini-series, I should say.
Or read the book.
Or read the book.
So I was kind of hoping that now with the effects they can do now, the combination of practical and digital, we would see a really amazing looking spider creature at the end. And we kind of got not that. So
we'll jump, but I want to start from the best place, the beginning. So we open up and there's a carnival going on. It's present day. And there's two guys, and there's one guy, and he's trying to, he's playing one of the carnival games, and what you would think, another person comes up to him, it's another guy, and, they start talking, whatever, and then you find out they're actually in a relationship, and they're gay. Once this starts happening, as a viewer, I'm like, oh goodness. And also I did read maybe the first chapter of It, because I could not get past it because it was just so a lot of it was so pointless. I was just like, when are we going to get to the actual story?
It takes a while.
Literally. So if you haven't read the story, the beginning of the novel has kind of this whole thing where these two gay guys are, been put upon, beat up, and one of them does get murdered, right? And they end up in the police station, and it's a whole, back and forth between the guys and the survivor. They decided for some fucking reason to include this in this film, even though technically it should have happened in the first movie, because that's how the novel opens up. But okay, we're going to randomly show this. And I think, again, spoiler, I think that they wanted to do this to kind of hey, Pennywise is back, which, why is he going after full-grown people now? I thought he was only into kids.
He would take anyone that he could get, really, because they showed him attack other people in the books. He's
hungry, so he's gonna eat whatever.
Yeah, and the reason it happened you gotta remember too, the book is told and completely, they go back and forth between the past, the present, the chapters alternate. So they couldn't have had this part in it because the first part was all just about the kids in the past. So that's why they put this in the second half.
But it didn't need to be in there, is what I'm trying to say.
No, it didn't really need to. But
it wasn't, I don't feel like it was an homage. I could have done without the whole, I'm gonna murder. I'm closed-minded person. Obviously, this exists, but I don't think it was relevant to the film. This whole sequence was just... and then we never touch base on it. It's never discussed. It's just like in the novel. We're gonna show you some shit. Has nothing to do with the story, and then we're gonna move on. That kind of bothered me. And then it was so graphic. I just didn't, I didn't like that part at all. It was very tough to sit through.
Well, and the book has a lot of stuff in it like that, where it's just random things happen. People are talking about, things that happened in the 1800s with Pennywise.
Yeah.
They talk about bank robberies that happened in the 1930s, where Pennywise was just strolling down the street during the bank robbery.
Yeah, to kind of show that he's been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
You know how when you said you read The Shining and you got the history of the carpet in all the rooms and you were like, Jesus, this is getting monotonous. Well, it is like over 1,000 pages.
Yeah, it's like 1,300 something pages, which was my next thing.
It's like 4 times the size of The Shining. So just imagine the detail that he packed into that.
Yeah, that was the other thing. This movie was so long. I felt like it didn't need to be that long, but at the same time, I mean, we had a miniseries where we had like over 6 hours of, footage to watch. So it's hard to condense. I mean, that's a lot of pages to try to adapt. So I get where you would want to fill things in, but it's just like, can we not fill it in with random BS and then also show stuff that's just like overdrawn? Like, it's just too much, or it's taking too long to show this one thing happening. Let's just get to the point and get it over with. The other thing is just a lot of I've been reading people's like problems with the movie is like they don't have a connection with the adults. The adults didn't really do a good job and the acting, and they care for the kids, but they don't care for the adults. For me, the adults are the kids. So how could you not have already feelings for these people? You liked them when they were kids, now you hate them as adults. I felt like they all actually lived up. Even the fucking casting is like flawless. They all these kids look like the adult versions, more or less. Obviously, the most obvious one, he doesn't look exactly like the kid, but at all. They don't look at all. But then that's life. Like, a lot of people look like, I'm talking about the chunky kid.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole plot point, was that he lost weight.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that happened. That was John Ritter's character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, they could have gotten someone that maybe resembled the other, like the little boy, maybe like same color hair, eyes, something. But I don't know. The movie's fine. I mean, to me, I'm not gonna go buy it. I don't need to buy it. I like the miniseries. That's where my heart's at. The whole CGI thing, it's hard to, have a movie like this where you have this character as a shapeshifter. It's an alien. That's the other thing. In this movie, they, more so than in the actual miniseries, they show like, he came from the sky. And then they had like this whole homage to, The Thing, which is also an alien. So I'm like, that was just like telling the audience, this is an alien. Maybe he knows this other alien. Why not? Well, maybe that's his neighbor. They both came down from the sky. They both have that in common.
Well, and the biggest change in this one, too, is they didn't reveal the fact that it was female. Because in the book and in the original miniseries, at the end of it, you find out that not only is it a giant spider creature, it's also pregnant. And it's laying eggs in there. And they have to go stomp the eggs to pieces, tear out the unformed eggs from it. But they do a lot of graphic stuff to that spider in the book.
Yeah, they should have just kept it in. I don't know why they decided to make it a spider at first for like 5 seconds, and then it became a crab. I don't why, because it had the legs, and then all of a sudden its arms were like crab, like pinchers.
And then he had tentacles sometimes too.
Yeah, then he had a whole bunch of stuff. He didn't know what he wanted to be. And then the worst part in the whole fucking movie for me was when it was Baby It. What the fuck was that about? What was Baby It? Like, what? Why?
We in case we didn't say it before, lots of spoilers here.
Yeah, spoiler alert. We'll just write that in the description. Spoiler. Baby It Did you just want to make toys and just this was an excuse to have a baby it? Because I thought that was really ridiculous. It looked stupid as fuck. It just looked, and it took me out of the movie because I was just like cracking up. I was like, this is ridiculous. What is this?
But don't you want a little baby it?
No, I don't. And then he's like,
it.
you're all grown up. I'm like, what? What? It lost me there. It was just like, you know what? We're done with this movie. We've been filming this for like fucking 6 months. I'm tired. Let's just wrap it up. Baby it. There. The end. And I feel like you don't really see a lot of it. Is it just me?
No, it's really not. He's really not in that much of it, or she, whichever you want to go with.
Is the movie not called It, or is it called The Losers Club? This should have just been called The Losers Club. Because that's what the whole movie is about, really. I mean, it just happens to make it like a fucking random cameo here and there. But he's not really in the movie.
In the book, they make a reference, like It makes a reference of that, you know, he's not as worried about the people coming after it as an adult because there's some kind of line, I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something like, they're adults now. They don't believe in anything anymore unless they can touch it, unless they can see it. They have to go to Dr. Ruth to learn how to have sex. They have to learn how to do all these things. They don't have any creativity of their own anymore. It's all beaten out of them. I'll be able to eat them up fast because they just don't have the creative minds that they did in the imagination when they're kids.
Yeah.
So they'll pick up a stick and try to hit it with it, but it'll just be a stick. It won't be Excalibur in their mind. And if they had shown a scene like that, something a little more than just like, oh no, you grown up now, you big kids, how are you hurting me? They need something a little bit more.
Well, I guess
I don't know, not so corny.
Yeah, well, before that, a little before that, Beverly tells not Stanley, the other one, Eddie, that you know what she's handing him is a monster killer, which was like some random piece of like iron. And he later uses that to impale it, and it attacks him, and that's where he starts to like weaken. Then, you know, however, 10, 15 minutes later, then we got the baby saying the whole thing about growing up. So he used his imagination and believed that this thing was a monster killer, even though it was like a piece of iron from the floor. So that kind of, I mean, that's connected. But you know, I really like the interactions of Bill Hader is fabulous. I mean, he's fantastic. I mean, you know, you would think, he's a comedian, it's not gonna, you know, do well, and he's always laughing in those SNL skits when he was on there. He was always the one laughing. One of the culprits. But he did a really good job. All his lines are funny. They weren't forced. You know, he has some of his whatchamacallit, what is the name when he is doing his impersonation? Sorry, it is 4 a.m, guys. He has some impersonations in there, so those were funny. But when he does Jabba the Hutt,
oh yeah,
and he does it. Yeah, that was funny too. He did a good job. And then you get James McAvoy being James McAvoy. I don't understand why people were like, the grown-up actors didn't do really that well. But it's like, some get more screen time more than others. But, you know, I mean, they're not going to put, I mean, if you haven't seen the original or read the book, this is a major spoiler. 2 of them die. We're not going to tell you who they are. But 2 of the characters die. So we're not going to put, like, them have more screen time because they're gonna die. So what does that matter? Why we're gonna have them be on the screen? It's really the main characters, which are really James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain, really. You know, then Bill Hader would be like 3rd person in line, and then Ben. But I don't know. It is what it is. It's over. Hopefully they're not gonna be like, oh, it chapter 3, because it is over. Literally, figuratively, all those things.
Although, even in one of the Stephen King novels, in the Dreamcatcher novel, they do go by a bridge that someone has painted, that there's mysterious letters that say Pennywise lives painted on the bridge. And it was a new bridge that was recently built.
That's dope.
So I always wondered if he would ever thought about doing another
fucking alien that has come down. I love me some Dreamcatcher. So many people hate that fucking movie, and I love that movie.
The book's a little better.
I'm sure, isn't the book always a little better? I
No,
mean,
not always. The Silence of the Lambs, the novel, is not as good as the movie.
okay. I'm gonna also say that for The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride novel's very boring, and the movie is way better.
Yeah, the Silence of the Lambs novel, it spells everything out for you very easily, and there's not much mystery of what's going on. You're like, oh, he's making a woman suit. We learned that like in chapter 3.
Okay.
So it's not all that surprising.
What was the other? They had some more homages. Well, there's one scene in the end where, let us know if this is a real thing or not. Is Bill Hader wearing Mouth of Madness shirt?
And in the Mouth of Madness shirt, it does look very similar to what Sam Neill was wearing when he was in the insane asylum with the little crosses drawn all over it.
I don't know. And then like, how would that even be connected? It has nothing.
Well, it wouldn't be like the Thing homage. It wasn't
Yeah.
really connected. It's just something they threw in there.
Well, yeah, that's also another.
I was trying to read the guard's name tag in the mental hospital to see what it was, because in the book the guard's name was Kuntz. So I wanted to see if they threw that into the movie, see if anybody would notice, but I couldn't read the name tag.
Magical Turtle showed up again.
He was just a turtle.
Yeah,
Or
but
was he?
Or was he exactly? Maybe Bill would have picked him up, done some magical shit. Isn't that like his fucking sidekick?
Could be.
You know, Magical Turtle and Bill. Can that be like a sitcom? I'll watch
It'd be a
it.
show I'd watch, yeah.
Yeah, because the first time we see it in the first movie, it's like it's on Bill's again. It's on Bill's side table by his bed.
I think the whole thing, instead of trying to release this theatrically, they should have just done another TV miniseries of it. Just do a Netflix series of it. Get like Flanagan to do it. And the way he did The Haunting of Hill House, telling things in the past and the present and weaving them back and forth, he would have been the perfect guy to do it and just weave the chapters back and forth through like a 6 to 8 part miniseries, you know?
Yeah.
And that would have been really great because you could have seen everything progress a little, you know, with a little bit more detail, but you wouldn't have to be sitting down to watch it all at one time, you know? I really think they should have gone that route. And it's not like Netflix doesn't have the money. They'll greenlight anything.
You know, I mean, I don't know why they would have put this theatrically. It was a ballsy move, but it paid off. And, you know, it paid off because, I mean, how many made-for-TV movies or whatever miniseries actually become full-blown theatrical movies that make bajillions of dollars?
Oh, I'm sure this one's going to kill this weekend, too.
It's already made $90 billion.
But if you get a chance, go see Satanic Panic, which also came out this weekend. Which seems like a bad choice on their part, rather. But yeah, that movie's supposed to be great, and it can afford for you to take a little time out to go see Satanic Panic.
Yeah, I guess. Who's the writer again?
Grady Hendrix.
Grady Hendrix. He actually wrote something about Stephen King. He wrote like an article.
Oh, probably, yeah. I think Stephen King's done like quotes for him and Paul Tremblay as well.
Yeah. I would like to see more of Bill Hader. Can we just see more of him? Like, you know, that'd be good.
Yeah, I particularly loved his line where they're chasing the little creature at one point and they're looking for it and he looks up and sees it on the ceiling and just goes, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah.
You know, just very calmly.
Yeah, that wraps up our review of it. I don't know. There's like nothing else to say because it's just, not that I want to like it. I was indifferent already going into the first movie. So this one was just like, Shad wants to watch it. I don't really care. I was indifferent. I wasn't like, oh, crazy that I need to see it. But it was one of those things like, I like to finish what I started. And even if I don't like it, you know, you want to watch it, so I'm going to watch it with you. But it was good to see, you know, Bill do his thing, and it was nice to see James McAvoy. I didn't get to see that other movie in the theater, the
Glass.
The Glass. I didn't get to see Glass, so I missed out on some James McAvoy action there. And that movie just like went under the radar, so that must have not done good. But I I'm gonna give it. There were. I counted like true jump scares. There were 4 jump scares, and I did jump every single time. They scared the shit out of me.
The guy next to me, you saw he about ripped the chair arm off with that one.
Yeah, there are some really good jump scares. The CGI is all over the place. It's very heavy on the CGI. It was
some of it looks really good, and some of it not so much.
Yeah, some of it looked really bad. Some of it actually reminded me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I don't know if that was intentional. Like they wanted to have like that like droopy, long, weird face look.
Yeah, some of it looked really good, and some of it not. I don't know why you end up with a movie like this. How you end up with some bad effects in it? Like, does no one check?
Well, remember, I mean, I don't know if this is true for this movie, but when we sit through the credits, sometimes they have different companies do different things. So that might be a thing. And then there's like 9 billion people doing, X effect. It's like this person did like just the eyes.
Yeah.
And this other person did like the body.
I think it was one of the Star Wars movies I saw where they said that each animator only had to do 3 seconds a week.
Wow.
So I'm like, God, can you imagine working on the same? What did you work on Star Wars? I worked on there to there. There to there.
Wow.
That was me right there. See that stormtrooper that raised his hand for half a second? That was me. When his 2 fingers stuck out to the side, I did that.
How do you think they could have ended the ending? You have the whole film. You're like, oh shit, it Pennywise. They're gonna be a confrontation. We're gonna have the big battle, the fight off, and then that was fucking lackluster. And then it happens, and then it's over, and then you're like, okay, it was all of that for just this, like 10-minute, the actual fight. When it gets into the nitty gritty, when they're all joining together and finally, not when they're all separated and doing their own, I'm in quicksand and I'm stuck in a bloody bathroom BS. Not all that crap. What would you think would have been a better route?
Them going down there to fight it would have been fine. Like they should have just, when they went down there, splitting them all up again and having them all go into their own little weird things that wasn't the way to go. It just felt too like Scooby-Doo gang of like, okay, the 2 of us are going to go this way, 2 of us are going to go this way, the other 2 are going to get divided off here, and then we're going to have these little character development moments, thrown in there. But then they kind of forget about some of the characters too. They're kind of like, oh, Richie, Eddie, you guys don't really get any more character development. You just get some little funny lines. Not that they weren't funny, but, they didn't really do any more with them. Then they had to be like, okay, now, Bill, Ben, Bev, you're going to all go have some more character development.
Well, they're also top billing. The other people, I don't even know the other people. And they're not recognizable names, per se. And I'm sure they paid them more than they did. I'm sure not everyone got paid equally to be in the film.
Yeah.
So
like
it's
the actor playing Mike, once they got down in the sewer there, they just kind of forgot about him.
Yeah, they totally forgot about him. And why didn't Pennywise just kill him out? Because he's the one had all the knowledge on how to kill him, even though he left out some very impertinent stuff that blows up his face. But I don't know. It just
was.
I give it 2.5 knives.
Yeah, that's about the same for me too, because it just felt like, I don't know, I would just rather have seen a series of this,
Yeah, let us know what you liked about it. A lot of other people are like, this is the best movie I've seen in my whole life. Like, literally, so many comments. This is the best horror movie I've ever seen. This is the horror movie of this generation. I'm like, okay, that's a little much. I can see where just because something made a lot of money doesn't mean it's good. But at the same time, it's like it's reached such a vast audience. Not only horror fans are watching this. So you have everyone is watching the movie. It's not just specific, genre specific. And I don't know why everyone is watching the movie. What makes this, this different than other things?
This kind of transcends, even people, you can go to the mall and hold up a picture of Kirk and Spock and go, who are these people? If you show the picture of Shatner and Nimoy, they can look at it and go, oh, that's Kirk and Spock from Star Trek. Maybe they've never watched Star Trek in their life, but they know who they are. Same thing with Star Wars. You can go hold a picture of Darth Vader up to people and go, who's this? They're all going to know it's Darth Vader, even if they haven't watched the movie. People know Pennywise, even if they haven't read any other Stephen King book or even watched the movie. You can hold up a picture of Pennywise to people and they're going to go, oh, that's that fucking Stephen King clown. Fuck that guy. You know, they all know it. And when there's a new one coming out, they're like, oh, yeah, I want to go see this one because I was 2 when the first miniseries came out. So I want to go to the theaters and see this one, see if it scares me as bad as the original one did. So it's just one of those things where they've heard about it maybe, but they haven't actually seen it. So now they're actually going to go see it. And they already kind of know the backstory of it. They're like, oh, it's an evil clown killing kids in from the sewer. So they already know a little going in. So I think that's it.
Yeah, Stephen King gave the director for the part 2 like a wish list of things he would like to see in the film. And supposedly only one thing made it into the film. It was the Paul Bunyan scene.
Yeah.
Does that happen in the book?
Yes.
Okay. Which is why he wanted that scene in there.
Want that in there.
I would like to see what this wish list is. I'm very curious to see what other things he felt needed to be in the thing. And did you know, I didn't know this. I knew that he didn't like The Shining, like the Stanley Kubrick version.
Yeah.
I thought it was because it was just not... I mean, I read the novel, and it isn't... There's vast differences, because it's Stanley Kubrick's, like, vision. It's no longer Stephen King's, you know, vision or whatever at that point. But I just read it, he thought it was too dark. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're a horror writer. All your shit's dark.
Well, no, his problem with it is when you listen to him talk about it, is that in the book, the character kind of starts off a little bit dark, a little bit, you know, with demons, with alcohol and that. And he slowly, through the course of the book, goes insane. He felt like Nicholson was crazy from day one. That he was already like a lunatic and then just got worse as it went on.
Mm.
And you have to remember, too, that a lot of the stuff in The Shining is stuff that he went through. He was dealing with being an alcoholic. He was dealing with, like, I mean, he really did grab his son and hurt his arm. So that's all the stuff in there. And so when he's looking at the screen, seeing himself, and he's just seeing himself being an asshole from minute 1. Yeah, and not have any redemption. Because, you know, in the book, he kind of redeems himself. In the movie, he's just an asshole from beginning to end. He's crazy. He's abusive, all that. Where in the book, he's a little bit, you know, he's not really abusive to the wife. He's a little short with her, but doesn't really physically or verbally abuse her. He did the one thing to the kid, which was an accident. And then he was also involved in the book, like with a drunk driving accident where they hit and killed someone. And, you know, these things all bothered him. He was trying to stop drinking. Then he goes to the hotel and slowly gets drawn back in and goes crazy. And, you know, Stephen King looks at it and goes, yeah, that's kind of me. I did some bad things, but I kind of redeemed myself. You watch the movie version of it, what the Kubrick did, and it's like, oh, he's kind of a dick from day one, and he never redeems himself. I think he doesn't want people to look at it and be like, oh, that's what he's like.
Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, it is dark, but I'm just like subject matter. It is dark. And then what are you supposed to take away from the novel when you are spending so much time? Literally the novel should be called The Overlook. Like, the whole book is about the freaking hotel. It's the history of the hotel. You know, the hotel's alive. Like, everything it's gone through. You know, who made this curtain? All this bullshit. So the fact that Stanley Kubrick was even able to pull anything from there is a miracle, you know, to say the least, I think. I mean, there are obviously things that happen in the novel, but he doesn't really dwell on it. I mean, I remember there was like one chapter that like spoke about the heater in the basement.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail about that. Yeah, you tell us.
Tabby has now joined the podcast.
Come over here, tell us all about your opinions of it.
Yeah, she is indifferent.
And she has made no comments.
She's like, you know what? I'm just going to throw this out there. I saw the Dr. Sleep trailer. And where's the fucking cat? Because this... How are you going to have the movie without the cat? Like, the cat that works, that helps him like in the facility that he works.
Oh, yeah.
In the nursing home, the one that helps the people pass.
Well, you know, I gotta save that for the movie. You can't spoil the main star. He's gonna be. I
guess. But show like 5 seconds of him. I have so many problems with this movie already, but I'm not gonna get in the tangent. Thank you so much for joining us on our special It Chapter 2 review, which may or may not have been coherent and or ramblings of two people that have been up for a lot of hours.
Yes, because we also had our constant reader ball tonight, so we were celebrating Stephen King all night.
Yes, we were. Thank you so much for everyone who attended our constant reader event. We really appreciate your support and attendance. And it was great to see everyone's creative costumes, and it was a really fun time.
I did the trivia questions. I thought I made them reasonably hard, but I thought I didn't imagine somebody would get every single one of them right.
And there was someone that got every single one of them, and kudos to him, because it was pretty dope that he did. But then again, he is like a head person at the library, so I'm going to say that he cheated, but he cheated because he had mad knowledge in his field.
Because he had read all the books.
Yeah, so it was like, but he did a great job. Thank you so much for joining us, and good night or good morning. Stay tuned to the horror, guys.
And now, folks, it's time to say good night. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.